What's up, YouTube? This is True Raw for TV. So, in the second game of yesterday's opening night doubleheader, the defending champion Los Angeles Lakers began their defense of their championship against their so-called rivals, the Los Angeles Clippers. But I do agree with the sentiment that it's hard to say it's a rivalry when the Clippers haven't won a goddamn thing. You know what I'm saying? The Lakers have 17 NBA championships going back to their days with the Minneapolis Lakers, while the Clippers, going back to their days with the Buffalo Braves, have not even gone to a conference championship. So that's not really much of a rival, you know what I'm saying, from a historical standpoint. Now, last night, the Lakers accepted their championship rings. Of course, fans were not in the stadium, though Adam Silver has said that there will be some teams that will experiment with limited fan uh, presence or attendance per the laws of each state that the franchise is in, or even within the county that the franchise is in. But there was a ring ceremony last night for the Lakers. There are a few Lakers like Rondo and Howard, who are no longer with the team, but they received their rings as well. Um, Look, the Clippers won last night. They started off game busters. They're starting off shoot the ball very well. The Lakers came back, but Paul George, his hot shooting, pretty much just sealed the deal for the Clippers as far as a victory for them. And they won by the final score of 116 to 109. I believe Paul George had 33 points. Yes, 33 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. Patrick Beverly had 10 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Kawhi Leonard, 26 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. Um, see, Lou Williams, 11 points. Serge Ibaka in his debut with the Clippers had 15 points and 6 rebounds. LeBron James did not play particularly well for the Lakers. He had 22 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. But he only shot 7 of 17 from the floor. Anthony Davis, in only 31 minutes play, had 18 points and 7 rebounds. The Lakers did not play very many minutes, and I think LeBron James rolled his ankle in the game as well, but it did not seem to really affect him. But considering the fact that the Lakers are only 70 days removed from winning a title, you can expect them not to play a lot of minutes earlier on in the season. This is another thing I learned too. Um, this is going to be a season of halves. Like, for instance, only the first 36 games have been determined this season. I did not know that. I thought the entire 72 game season had been planned out. Only the first half of the season has been planned out. There are going to be some games where teams are going to stay in the same city back to back, I guess, to cut back on road travel and to prevent exposure of the virus to players. Um, so this is a work in progress this season, just in case. And I understand. I can understand why they're doing that, just in case there is a situation which will result in the halt of the season, or suspension of the season. Um, so it's smart that they're doing that. But back to the game and the team. Look, last year the Clippers won the first game. So I'm not going to read too much into this. They won the first game last year. Matter of fact, they won the first 2 games against the Lakers last year. But as we all know now, there were some serious chemistry and internal issues with that team, um, which led to them not even making it out of the second round of playoffs. The Clippers curse. Um, the Lakers were flat. A lot of times we see this from a historical standpoint. I'm not reading too much into it yet because, like I said, we've seen this from a historical standpoint with teams on opening night ceremony, ring ceremony. A lot of times, I remember one year the Bulls were defending champions and they lost to the Boston Celtics. I think at home. There have been different times I've seen like a championship team go through that ceremony and it's emotional. Maybe they're not totally focused on the season. Another thing that happens is when you're the defending champion, teams are really aiming at you, and a lot of teams aren't prepared for that yet. They want a title to stick in a championship hangover. So it's not, out of the realm possibility that the Lakers may struggle somewhat the first couple games of the season. When I say first couple games, maybe first three or four, maybe five. They may be a little inconsistent. Um, they might still just be in playoff mode. They might still be in a somewhat passive mode. Um, Now, if this continues going 7, 8, 9 games, let's say they are 500 or so, and they lose the teams they shouldn't lose to, then that's when you press the worry button. The one thing I'm a little concerned about with the Lakers is this. I'm a little bit concerned about this. When they made the trades that they did to acquire the Marcus Gasols, but letting guys like McGee and Howard go, and acquiring Gasol and Harrell. Yes, you do get scoring, and most people just look at scoring, right? But the one thing you give away that those guys provided, they didn't provide a lot of scoring, but they provided interior defense and rebounding, and um, you know, and some athleticism at that position. Harrell is a great scorer, but he's a comparative midget. And Marcus Gasol is old. He is a former Defensive Player of the Year winner, but that was many, many, many moons ago. So that's one thing I'm a little bit concerned about with the Lakers. Um, of course, you're always concerned about Anthony Davis. Fortunately, they were very lucky for him not to have a sustained injury last year. And when you have a guy like LeBron James, you always have to worry about um, when exactly, if at all, he might show signs of deterioration. Look, when you get to that point when you're playing in your 18th season, you have to be realistic about that. Now, hopefully, he's playing at an MVP level again. Top uh, 3 or 4 player in the league, and there's not really much, if any at all, deterioration. But that's one thing you do have to be concerned about when a player gets to his age. Now he's about to be 36 in a couple of days, so you do have to worry about that. But other than that, I wouldn't take too much into this loss from the Lakers. You'd rather win. If you're the Clippers, it's a nice victory. Perhaps it's a confidence booster for Paul George. But as we see with Paul George, there's a difference between winning a regular season game and performing like that in the playoffs on a consistent basis. When you perform like that on a consistent basis in the playoffs, then I'll be impressed. Okay. So tell me what you guys think.